Hi there, I'm Rebecca Williamson. I'm the publisher of Fierce Pharma, and I'm here today with Rommel Fernandez, Chief Analytics Officer at Fingerpaint Group. Rommel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So before we begin, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your role at Fingerpaint Group?
Sure. So Rommel Fernandez, Chief Analytics Officer, as you said, we're a collective of healthcare company solutions that cover commercialization services throughout the whole product lifecycle, from branding to marketing to the medical space, all the way through to omnichannel solutions.
Tell me, how have customer and patient expectations evolved in the current healthcare marketplace?
Well, evolve in the past tense is probably not the right word. It's going to continue to evolve. There's two different groups, I would say, from the healthcare providers to the consumers themselves, and each have had their own kind of what do I want to see, what do I expect, and whether I know it's always referenced the classic Amazon knows what I want to order before I order it. That kind of expectation that permeates across all the other channels or mediums that we work with or live in has influenced kind of that evolution. More personalized information, more bite-sized information even, and getting that information to the right person at the right time becomes more and more important.
Very good. So how are digital experiences and solutions changing how pharma companies can better meet consumer needs?
Well, whether you want to talk pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, it's definitely accelerated in my opinion and others, I'm sure. And meeting them in the digital space is this requirement of getting the right information, because it's so pervasive in terms of where the information lies. And as the industry pushes towards or pushes past the boundaries of these complex therapeutic areas, the disease states, from the healthcare provider side, they want to get the information to them that's right, concise. You've got the efficacy, the safety information, all that. But from a consumer, it's a different type of journey. It's how do I learn more about the disease I'm dealing with? What is it I want to know, not only either for me or if I'm a caregiver for somebody in my family even, how do I help support them? So it's not just about the disease, it's also how do you help the person as a whole? And part of our responsibility, I think, is finding ways to reach everybody in the whole continuum so that they're educated and informed so that they can make better decisions for themselves.
So how do pharma marketers and emerging companies find ways to connect with HCPs and patients?
Well, in terms of how they connect, there's going to be a couple different options out there. There's the classic, let's talk about the healthcare providers, the classic in-person promotion, detailing, messaging. And then as we push towards digital and how it's accelerated post-pandemic, using solutions like omnichannel. How do you get to the right audience, get the right product to the right patient is kind of key for us at Fingerpaint Group. It's something that we value a lot. And it's not just about the services that we offer, but it's also how do you help the overall situation where you've got now distinct generational differences in how they communicate or how they want to be communicated to. I think we're just getting to the point where we're figuring out the gender differences in communication. Now there's generational differences that I think we need to start figuring out, because the way these generational differences really influences the type of information, the depth of information, the speed of information. I can't keep up. When you look at kind of the different generations out there, I can't keep up with the younger generation, the way that they can consume information. I mean, my 18-year-old consumes information at breakneck speeds that require me to look at something she sends me at least 3 times over before I get the punchline, right? I mean, that's a classic example of the rate of which change is coming. You add the generational differences, and then you add all the other pressures around it, the socioeconomic, the societal pressures. And now we're dealing with an area where you're trying to reach these healthcare providers and these patients or caregivers amongst this vast ocean of noise. And what can they, or where can they go to truly understand what it is that they need to know to either help themselves, or if I'm a healthcare provider, help my patients, or as a caregiver, help my friends and family. And I think that's where you leverage things like, not too long ago, it was called omnichannel. It's probably more multi-channel. And the omnichannel space is ever growing. You add to that the future of the virtual world. don't ask me questions about that. That is still, I'm wrapping my head around that space altogether
We all
right
are.
now.
Yeah, we all are.
But it's going to be different, and it's going to be constant, and it's going to be something where you're going to need partners out there who understand the challenges and are also very transparent about the amount of impact you can have. And that's going to be key for us.
That's great. Well, I think that's a perfect place to end. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate the conversation.
Thanks for having me.